I'm just rewatching my last live where we were talking about slugs, but towards the end, growing out the box, he came up and he gave us a masterclass on how to be successful as a content creator. If you're a content creator, you're going to want to watch this. Come see the master at work.
Yeah.
Speaking of memberships, if you didn't know, Diva in the Dirt offers memberships. You can click the join now.
He's here.
Okay.
I'll drop down now, guys.
Okay, bye, Jonesy.
Bye, Jonesy. Okay.
Welcome, sir. You did it.
Yes. Still getting the side chat set up.
So can everybody hear me?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. Now what it was, my initial account.
Mute YouTube and only have StreamYard.
Yeah, make sure you've got
both open.
YouTube. Yeah, YouTube.
Otherwise you'll hear yourself twice. Oh, geez, I almost knocked that over.
Give me 1 second.
Okay.
Is that me? Because I was getting a delay. I'm getting a crazy delay.
And then it's probably you. Something's open or we're coming through.
And only watch the StreamYard video, not the YouTube video.
Yeah. So should I be watching StreamYard or?
Yeah, just the StreamYard. Yeah.
Yes.
And then if you have another one open or two, just make sure the sound's off on them.
Okay. I think there we go. All right.
Better.
Y'all know I'm a rookie at this now.
We said nothing. We're fine.
I got it now. The more I do it, the better I get, but I got it. Right. What it was, my initial YouTube account is under TR Rehab. So it was asking me to sign in as Growing Out the Box. And of course, I know all my passcodes. I got like 1,000
I hate that.
So I had to find the passcode. So we're in there now.
Okay. Oh, good. Yay.
Yep. So what are we talking about? You're talking about the algorithm. I guess
how are you?
Basically what Shawnee was saying, I read my analytics, and the analytics are going to tell you pretty much exactly what you need to be doing for your next video. I mean, that's pretty much how, I built the channel, just reading the algorithm and the peaks in your, you'll have like matter of fact, it does say, what is it? There's like a peak that you'll see in the watch time. I always find that little peak right there, and there is going to be somewhere in that little valley is going to be one that hilltop is going to be my short. And I just basically take that information, turn it into a short, and then point the short back to the long form video with the related content. So it all works together. I hear, like with the vidIQ and all of those things there, I've tried all of those things, but as simple as it is, Google, YouTube has the best analytic tools on the internet. I mean, they spoon feed you all the information, and that's all I did in learning how to use the algorithm or the analytics on there to really drive people to what I want them to see. I mean, it's really simple. It's so simple, it's like people really don't get it. It's just that simple. I mean, like you were saying, Maureen, you're doing videos that have nothing to do with your content. So when you're getting hits on those videos or your shorts that are getting those hits, the algorithm knows not where to put you because it doesn't reflect what your content is. So when people click on it, they of course are going to come to your content to see if that's the same, and it's not. So that's why you're not converting those. And that's all I did with the marrying the two. A lot of people say shorts hurt your content, and I would argue them down. And it just doesn't work here on YouTube. I'm doing it on all the social media platforms. It's the exact same formula on all the social media platforms, but it's absolutely easier on Instagram and Facebook. I mean, it's simple on Instagram and Facebook because that's all you're doing is shorts. So,
Right.
you know, I mean, again, the analytics point you to exactly where you need to be. And even on your upload dates, I really don't do the upload dates because it'll show you that graph that tells you when your viewers are mostly online. I don't do that. But I noticed one thing: if you are not consistent in whatever it is that you're doing, you will be penalized. So if you're doing, let's say, 4 videos a week, and then you slack off of those 4 videos, you will get a notification saying you haven't uploaded your normal 4 videos. So your reach is no longer being pushed out there. They're going to tell you exactly. So what they're saying in so many words is you need to be consistent. If you're going to do 4 videos a week, do 4 videos a week. Don't do 3 videos or 2 videos because you're not going to get the same push. The encouragement is always to keep people on the platform. I mean, it really is that simple.
Yeah.
Yeah, they put that right on your front page. So for those of us like me who can't stay consistent, it's like, hey, your views are only this many this month. And it'll even put like a little red mark or a green mark next to it. It's like,
so when people ask the question, I'm like, YouTube has the best tools. The best tools. You take the vidIQ, you can scratch it. I get a 55 on my rating on the vidIQ when I put all my my stats in and my tags and all that. I get a 55. You know, brush that off, because as long as like certain things, like my title, first of all, my title has to reflect whatever it is that I'm seeing. So even if I have to change my title from the actual time that I did the video, I'll do a Google search of the title. And then I'll do the relevance of the title, search how long has that been searched, or how frequent that search has been in the last 46 seconds. And it'll tell you. And it'll tell you if you got 3 million people are searching for this particular title, and you can do it even verbatim, like exactly whatever it is that you're writing for your title.
Wow.
And that gives
that's
you
all right into Google? Was that all into Google? You just wow. Are you doing the Google Trends at all? Where I've heard people talk about Google
you
Trends.
just type it into Google. Just type whatever your title is going to be into a Google search, and then at the top of Google, you're going to see where it says, "Are you searching verbatim? Are you searching for the year?" It'll break it down for each. You know, however close you want to do it. And I always do, let's say, for the last 46 seconds. I want to know who's searching for this the last 46 seconds. And then it'll even break it down and tell you what countries are searching for that.
Wow.
So it's simple. I mean, you just got to read, you know what I mean? And like, I watch you ladies because I admire the way that y'all can just flip the internet open like Shani, and she'll just start reading, and it just seems natural. You know what I mean? Just like, I know you're reading, but I can watch that because I can get that information just by, it just seems natural to you. For me, it's forced. If I'm having to read, I'm probably going to sound like I'm reading.
Yeah.
So that's one of the reasons why I watch you ladies. You know, I come in, I'm studying you, to be honest. So trying to get better at doing what it is that you all do naturally. So,
thank you.
And that's why I watch. You know, and I watch everybody for a different reason. So it's not pretty much like the algorithm. It pointed me to you all for a reason, and I use those tools. You know, that, I mean, it's the reason why they shared. I don't know who was Maureen. I think it was you, Maureen, that I found first, and then of course Cheryl, and then recently Shauna. But
Yeah.
the algorithm points you to all the tools that you need. You just have to understand what it's trying to tell you. They're not going to like write it out on the screen for you. Yep, you're supposed to go watch Maureen tonight, or But even coming on and learning how to use StreamYard, I learned most of what I know about StreamYard from the 3 people on this screen right here.
Right.
I literally from the 3 people that are on this screen. So
that's sweet.
even just logging in just now, that was a new for me. That's a first.
Yes.
So
Right.
with me and the internet, everything is a first because I don't like being in front of the camera. I've never liked being in front of the camera. So I'm having to rediscover the things that I've always told other people to do. So that for me is like I'm a good coach. You know what I mean? I can tell you like all the things to do, and that's been part of my career, and just being able to find talent. And that's why I'm saying to you, I mean, I can't say it, I don't want to sound braggadocious, you know what I mean? But it's like when I watch you all, the 3 of you, because I think all 3 of you have like a unique style that can do extremely well on the internet, but it's just, you got to find that window, and when it opens up, go through it and be consistent with it. But for me, it's looking at myself and finding my strengths. My strength is looking at Maureen and saying, this is what you do good. This is why I watch you, and being able to pick that out and then tell you, okay, well, try this. Now I'm having to, as the subject, as the artist, I would say, and Maureen, you can probably relate to that in terms of artist management, because I'm used to being behind the scenes and telling everybody what it is that needs to happen when the lights go up, when the stage moves, just different lighting effects, and being away from that now and having to learn it myself, teach myself what I've been telling everybody else to do. It's a whole new, it's like a whole new learning curve.
Yes,
so not only, so it's the editing, learning how to edit when you're the one that's standing behind the editor saying, no, I know you can do that. You can't tell me you can't do that because I don't know how to edit, but I know I know the machine can do that. Yeah. So that was the challenge that I used to be. People used to say, don't go in the studio with Keith because I don't take no, you know what I mean? You can't tell me it can't be done. And when I'm on the internet now and trying to learn and navigate through this, that's the same approach that I have, in that it's like all these tools that we have. There's no way that you can tell me that Google, being the largest of all the platforms out here, don't have all the tools that's going to make you successful. So when someone comes to me and say, hey, I can get your analytics, I can take your channel and send it to the next level. No, you can't. No, you can't. Because if that was the case, I would already be there. And then I always ask the question, well, how about I look at your channel and see where your numbers are? Because if you can't do it for yourself, what makes me think that you can do it for me? I mean, it's
exactly.
But again, going back to you ladies, all of you have like these little unique things, and I've embraced that because I would like to have you on my team, to tell you the truth. Because I understand where my weaknesses are, and I recognize strength, and you have to know both in order to be able to navigate through whatever it is that you're trying to do. So I surround myself with people who do the things that I don't do well. And that's how I've always trained people to be better at what it is that you're doing. Don't try to do everything. Delegate. So, and using the tools, that's your delegation. YouTube is giving you the tools. So I've learned to use those tools and lean on them. So I'm not as natural as you ladies that just fluently, well, I can talk, but
I'm not analytics. You're up here for that, Keith, and we're not analytically fluent yet.
Reading
no matter how many times.
But it's really for me, it's a common sense approach, because I'm this is what I've always done. So it's like,
Right.
to say analytics, my job before there was a thing called analytics was to be able to assess talent, you know, see it, recognize it, get you in the studio, you know, get you to believe in yourself. You know, Maureen, you probably of all the three up here probably have a better understanding of what I'm talking about. But it's like bringing the new artists in and being the artist development on the artist development team. My job is to make you believe in something that doesn't exist, and that is you are a star. So I have to train you to think like a star. When you go into a club, or when you go into a night spot, dress the part. Walk in like you have what they have, and I'm talking about the stars. Present yourself in the same fashion. So with me, the whole internet thing became it's a stage. That's why you see my garden set up a certain way. You're not going to see the what I call the sausage. You're not going to see me making the sausage.
That's right.
You know, because that's not what viewers want to see. You know, I can build. I built everything in the garden, but nobody wants to see me build. So I don't show those videos. I'm going to give you what you ask for. And that's the same way with entertainment. If you put on a show, a pilot, you do a couple of series, maybe six shows that you would do. You find out what works, what doesn't work, which character work, which characters don't work. And what do? You don't fall in love with the characters, you replace them. You keep those that are good and you replace those that are bad. Same thing with a recording act. If the record company has control of the act, there may be one person in the group that don't really fit the mold. That person gets plucked out and replaced with another individual. So that's pretty much how I approach this whole internet thing. You know, I tried certain things. I'm not afraid to try it, because if you haven't seen anyone else doing it, that is where you need to be, because it gives you your own lane. And if you break through on it, that's your winning. That's where you're going to win at. And for me, it was the simplicity mixed with textbook. That's what I call it. It's simplicity with a twist of textbook. I'm going to give it to you as simple as I can, but I want to let you leave with that. Oh, wow. I never thought about that. And this is for the gardeners who's been gardening their entire lives, but you say something like eggshells, you know, powdering the eggshell, well, it has a Lyman effect. It's a simple thing for the person who knows, but how many people don't know? That's who I'm focused on. I'm focused on the ones that don't know. I'm not interested in those who already know. So for someone to look in and say, well, that was pretty simple. Everybody knows that. No, not everybody.
No.
That's
obviously not by how many people watching. No.
Right. And that is my answer all the time. Obviously not. This video has gotten over 15 million views. So there are far more people that don't know than it is that do know. We assume because it's so simple that everyone knows it. That's the whole build of the growing out the box, you know, it's just being able to watch and the reactions of people, and then that's your audience. You don't create your audience, you allow them to find you, and then you become that thing that they want you to be. You know, I mean, we all tell you we want to put on a show, we want it to be about Keith. No, I don't want the channel to be about me. People really don't care to see me. That's why the lives don't do well for me, or I'm not interested. They want to see the plants. They want to see what I'm growing. They want to see what it is I'm talking about while I'm talking about it. So that's why I keep the camera moving. And these are things that I've learned just from, you know, being on stage and being behind and being able to direct and production manager and the illusion of what you don't see. And in entertainment, we say, allow people to see what you want them to see, and they will imagine the rest. And that's what you have to play off of when you're doing this internet thing. You have to play off the imagination and the staging, having the
Right.
garden. It's no, my garden's not always neat, but you'll never see it not neat. You know, I'm not always dressed, and I'm out there dirty and digging, and some days I'm out there in my pajamas, but you'll never see that. Because that's not the show. That's not what they come to see. So we get too caught up sometime in what we want to deliver as opposed to what they're asking us for. And that's why I'm saying, pointing back towards your shorts, Maureen, if you are getting reactions from the shorts that are not related to your content, you might need to pay attention to your shorts. They're giving you the answer. Become that. You're already doing it. Become it. Make that a part of your channel, or just test it out. Don't be afraid to. My position would be, if your channel is not doing well, then nothing you can do can make it not do well. It's already not doing well, so why are you keep doing the same thing that's not doing well? Try different things. Take, even if it's just a snippet of something that rings the bell, you take that, keep it, toss the rest out, mix it in with the other stuff. That was my formula for every artist that I've ever worked with. It's, you do what it is you do. You get on that stage, you perform, you put your show together. If that don't go over well, that's scrap. This is how we make our money. We have to sell the idea. We have to sell the illusion. So when the lights go down, they have to believe that they are there with us. They have to connect to you. And that is what we're doing on this internet. When it becomes too personal and you just want to do it because this is what you do, this is who you are, you kind of miss the mark. This is entertainment. Educational, simplicity with a twisted textbook. But at the end of the day, we as content creators, we are the new layer of entertainment. People don't watch television the way that they used to do.
No, YouTube was one of the top ranking replacers of television last year.
Absolutely. And I was just hearing Netflix is Hollywood. They were talking about Hollywood controlling the movies for the last 150 years. Netflix and Amazon are king right now. It's a digital era. So we as content creators, and I'm not going to say we're at the beginning of it, but we're at the beginning of a new phase of it with this AI and all of this stuff taking over. And if you are not focused on learning the AI tools, you're going to get lost. You're going to get left behind.
Right.
I could give some secrets, but some things you have to kind of keep close to your chest, because if everybody knew what I knew, then they probably could do exactly what I do. But you have to, and I'm going to say, you have to start with the AI. If you're not using the AI tools, you're not going to make it in this. This thing is going to go to a whole nother level.
We have AI friends. We know. Yeah.
That was the only reason I could make a channel and have time for it, is because I use AI to help me get it going.
And the key word is efficiency.
Yeah.
There's so much that I can do now with the AI, to where I'm so used to having a staff, and now it's just me. So the AI is able to, okay, I need to make a presentation. Okay, just do the best you can do, write it up, and then I send it to my AI. Boop, 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 boop. I got a professional presentation put together that I can send to a company that's wanting me to sponsor their product, and I don't need to pay anybody for that. So that's where the growing out the box whole brand starts to take a hold. And when I hear people talking about monetization, you don't need monetization to be successful at this. I was making money on growingoutthebox.com before I even got subscribers, because in the beginning I was putting product in my videos, and everybody was saying, why are you putting product in your videos? No, I mean, you're not getting paid for that. Really? So, and now you look back at those same videos where I had that product in the video, the algorithm finds that stuff And now it becomes relevant. And now I can use those old videos with that product placed in it, and I can use that to leverage. You know, if a sponsor wants me to do something, now I can point back at those videos and say, hey, this video got X amount of views. This is what it's going to cost you to put this product. I'm not going to talk about it, just to put this product, like this plaque in the back. If you saw a sign in the back with somebody's name, that's because it was paid to be there. So I don't do affiliate marketing like everyone else does. And this is, again, coming from the entertainment side of things. This is the advantage that I have in understanding product placement and how money is made behind the scenes. Like when you walk into a movie set and the Coca-Cola can is sitting up on the counter in the back, not there by chance. So we have to, again, as content creators, understand our value, the worth that we have long term, not just for what you're looking at today and you only have 100 subscribers, but what can this be bottled up and made into a year from now? Because that's your investment, you know.
Wow, that's good.
Yeah.
That's really
the
good.
long
I
term
can talk about this kind of stuff all day long. You know what I mean? Because because like I said, this is what I did. My job was to pep talk you into believing that you're something that you don't know that you are. I can hear your voice. I can see your presence and see you standing on the stage with some of the larger artists and you and shrinking your nature and just thinking, you know, humbleness. But no, you put your chest out. You look just as good as everybody else. You sound just as good. And this is how we're going to create that picture to put you up there. So when you walk in the door, they're going to ask, who is that? That's your presentation. You know, everything. That's why the lives, again, they don't serve a purpose, you know, for me right now, you know, other than like what I did last night to come in to say thank you to you guys. That's what the live serves for me, just as a way to say thank you to the people who support me and then pass that back and then I'm out. You know?
So. I have a question though. When you say like we're basically it's entertainment that we're giving and we are entertainers then by default. But what if you have a person like me? I used to do drama like in school and I've done plays, I've done extra work and things like that. And I liked the authenticity of YouTube. And I never wanted to become like this. I guess you become a product, but I didn't want to become a product that wasn't authentic.
But you are. You are a celebrity. That's what you create with the image. That is the definition of celebrity. You create that. If I'm watching you for whatever reason it is that I watch you, whether it be for your quirkiness, you know, it's whatever reason that it is I watch you, that is your celebrity. That is what you have to bottle up and understand. This is what is valued in your presence. So it doesn't matter what it is that you're doing. It's just you have to recognize the value in it. Like where can you take it? You know, so that's what I do when I come on, and it's like I say, product placement. I look back on that, and it's like now I can talk to sponsors and pretty much be adamant about, no, I'm not going to do that. That's not how it's going to go. This is how we're going to do it. And then I could point to the numbers and say, this video did 15 million. You see that Vigo planner in the background? That's there for a reason. That's what they want. They want, it's like to understand, why would you take someone's product for free? And that is your payment. Like, I'm going to send you a Sharpie marker. And I want you to tell me all about this Sharpie marker. And I'm going to, your pay is the Sharpie marker. This is all you're going to get. But a year from now, when your channel blows up, they can still use you, your likeness, and Maureen, you understand this, your likeness with that Sharpie marker, and take advantage of your celebrity. The growth that you've had over the past year. This is always going to be in their library.
Yep.
Got it.
We don't get a payment from YouTube. We get royalties. It's that way for a reason.
That's right.
You look at your statement, it's a royalty. It's not a payment.
No.
So what you're doing on here, even with this live, let's say I get 1 million followers. Maureen, you got gold right now. Because you can always go back to this live and say, hey, I had Growing Out the Box on my live, and he was giving us on how to get to that 1 million followers that he now has. So that's recognizing your celebrity.
Right.
And understanding the power of that. That's why I don't go on a lot of lives, because I understand the value of the celebrity.
Yeah.
It really is simple. You know, it really is that simple.
Oh man.
It's simple.
I think I'm gonna just quit.
There is aspects where it is like it's a different mindset, you know, that you have to bring into your head, because it's like you go, you know, Growing Out the Box is on my channel, right? So we're looking at like, you know, it's like Growing Out the Box is on my channel, but it's like, no, Growing Out the Box is on my channel. There's a difference in there in the attitude. It's the fact that, you know, it's
I don't. There's only one other person that I've ever gone live with, and that was Miss Linda.
That's right. That's right.
Because I understand the celebrity of, and like I said, it's not to sound cocky, but it's just always to think about what's next. And you don't want your brand everywhere for someone to be able to, you know, somebody pop up. You know, you lady, I trust you enough to where I made you moderators on my channel, all three of you. To the point to where I even asked you about doing the bingo. It's a whole lot of things that I look to you three for, because you represent something that I don't have. And not only that, the demographics of what's on the screen, I pay attention to those things. You know, so I'm thinking broadening, growing. Like I said, I don't consider myself as a gardener. I consider myself a grower. So everything that I'm looking at where it can go from there.
He considers
he doesn't
himself
consider
a grower.
A grower, not a gardener.
Because, and I say grower because it's really not, it's not about the garden. You know, it's about what the garden can lead me to. So it's the growing, whatever, like being able to see, okay, if I stage this and show them this, they're going to ask for that I'm showing in the background that has nothing to do with what I'm talking about. That's a test, because I want to see what it is that you're looking for. So in all my videos, when I'm recording, I always tell whoever's recording me, make sure the background, the thing in the back is able to be seen. I want that to be a part of the scene, but it's not. Because what'll happen is people are nosy by nature. If you have something that halfway intrigues them in that back, somebody's going to say, hey, what is that little plant right there? What is that plaque on the wall? Now I know what to make my content about. So you're constantly testing the algorithm. You have to become your own algorithm, put things in place so that people can ask questions. And this is one of the reasons why I reply to a lot of the questions, because you guys tell me what it is I need to be doing next.
Right.
And then sometimes you even educate me on some things, because like David Corey with the crops, you know, he introduced me to the fava beans, and from the fava beans, I learned about the levodopa. You know, so it was like,
we were just talking about it last
He's
night.
where I heard it yesterday.
I was peeling fava beans.
So what happened to me was I was having lunch with a person. They told me a story about someone with Parkinson's. I went to your live and I caught the right time of where you were talking about the fava bean. And I was like, what? And I looked it up on Carol's live. I go, Carol, did you hear about this? And we looked it up, and she had fresh fava beans in her possession.
Yes.
Yes.
It all clicks together.
That's how it works. That's how it works. And that's why I say I'm a grower, not a gardener, because the whole principle behind what it is I'm trying to do is connect with that which does, sometimes it don't even exist. You know, it's like the imagination, just like with my nephew being over and, you know, we're out there picking blueberries. It had nothing to do with the fava beans, but then he got curious and he just started, so what is this right here? And, you know, I started telling him, well, that's a fava bean. That's something that I'm growing for the first time. And then I break off one of the smaller ones because you can eat the smaller ones, and he tastes it and he's like, oh, that's pretty good. I say, yeah, it's, you know, it has levodopa in it. If you take the tip of this thing and you eat it, and it's a precursor to dopamine, which is one of the things that you deal with when you're dealing with Parkinson's disease. And he paused for a minute. It was almost like, huh? Like, you can eat this? And then he didn't really go further into it. But then the next day he called me and he was like, that plant that you were showing me, can I come over and get some? Because come to find out, his girlfriend's dad has, you know, and for me, that is what it's about. That's that connection, that grower, that thing that connects people to things that you really had no idea that was going to happen. It's just opening yourself up to the imagination.
Beautiful.
And that to me has been the blessing of what happens when I do. This has been my life. You know what I mean? But I've done it for everyone else. I've pointed at Maureen and was able to take all the good qualities of Maureen, and I can erase the things that nobody likes, but I can take those good qualities and I can put you on the stage and take a picture and show it to people, and they can see what I see now.
Right.
Now I have to do that for myself. And that's one thing my son said, because I was like, when the channel first started going, and I was like, you know, I've been here before. You know, I was like 100,000 plaque, and I wasn't excited. You know, it was like, yeah, this 100,000. I've been here before. And it took for my seed to say to me, oh, Dad, you ain't been here before.
That's right.
So I'm looking at my son and like, what are you talking about? He said, because you've never done it for you.
That's right. You're on the other side of the camera.
Love it.
Because I don't quit on me. I don't quit on anyone else. So I know I'm not going to quit on me. And that's been the difference of the channel moving at the pace that it's doing, because everything that I know needs to happen falls on me. You know, it stops with me. If it doesn't happen, it's because I didn't do it. I don't have that thing that I could point to say, well, you were supposed to and you didn't, and that's why it didn't happen. And the thing that I tell my kids all the time, if you don't trust the process, something that I hear GT say all the time, if you don't trust the process and follow through with it, you'll never know what the results are. And that's just something that I live by in terms of taking this internet thing and making it a part of my daily routine. And the things that I've been out there all day in the garden. Looks like I really haven't done anything, but I've done 1,000. You know what I mean? If the average person walked out there, they looked at it, they'd be like, "What'd you do today?" You know. But I've been out there literally since 7:30 this morning, and I came in as like dark. But by the time my wife called me, it's like, "You need to come in and eat something." Because I've repotted blueberries. I moved them to a certain area in the garden where I wanted to show, because I'm going to do my June garden tour. So all of these things, like the average person walking in, they don't understand what my brain is doing. You know, it's like I'm setting the stage for the next show.
Wow.
And there's the build up and then there's the tear down. So you don't understand what it takes to put the show on because it's just not what you do. You're not interested in the show. But that's what it is. It's a show. So I got all my blueberry bushes that I've up potted. They're in one section. So what that is going to do, it opens up the conversation for, oh, why don't you show us the video where you up potted the blueberries? I show them up potted. I tell them I up potted them, but I don't show the video because I want them to ask for it.
It's the whole breadcrumb trail thing.
There it is.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You just give them a simplicity mixed with a bit of textbook. That's the whole formula. And it is about allowing your viewers, and I say your viewers, to choose what it is they want to see. Because when you start forcing them to watch you because this is what you want to do, then you're going to lose your viewers. That's why shorts, Maureen, when you do your little shorts and then you get the views and then you send them over to your channel and they're like, well, this is not the same show. It's the same character, but it's not the same show. You know, so you have to become a part of that thing that you create and give them more of what they ask for. Right. That's the reason why I answered. And like I said, I still do it. I take 2 hours out of the day, and I've had to readjust how I answer the messages. So now it's more of whatever video I post this day, I'll try to do that video for the most part of that day, and then I have to kind of let it go on its own. Hope there's some threads in there that'll take on a life of its own, and it'll kind of go in the algorithm, keeps that going. So I try to feed the algorithm with the comments. So it's a whole lot of just communicating without being heard, you know.
Right.
So, but you ladies, y'all, I think all three of you have something unique within yourselves. You just have to find it and pay attention to what people are asking you to do or asking you to show, because there is the answer for your next video.
Right.
Yeah.
It starts to happen naturally. Like once you feel like you've got the training wheels off, you just go, oh, yep. We're going to talk about container gardening next because everybody's talking about ways to grow in other spaces other than I don't have land.
That's right.
That's really helped with my channel for sure. What are we going to talk about next? What's on your minds? What questions do you have? Let's talk about it.
And they're going to tell you what it is they want to see.
Yeah.
So for you to ignore it and be like, nope, I'm going to talk about chickens. You know, that's
right.
Your people are telling you what it is, that, you know, so you have customer service. Again, it's like going to the networks. We are now the entertainers of yesterday, and we're tuned in now to Diva in the Dirt. This is her presentation of what her network has. And we have to look at that in the celebrity that it is, because we don't know, it may be your next video or the video after that takes off. And then everything that you've done that's relevant to this conversation or whatever the video that you did, now it becomes relevant. It makes sense. So now you're ready. And that old saying that they say, the worst thing that could happen is a viral video that you're not ready for.
Right. On a topic that your channel wasn't going to run with in the first place.
Right.
And it really tanks.
It will destroy your channel.
Because you've got all these people coming there for how to repair a chainsaw motor when really you don't do that every day.
So you have to be mindful of every video that you put up. It has, and I think I said this in your chat probably 2 years ago before, be intentional. Everything that you do on here, be intentional. Make sure that this is what you decided to do, not just, oh, I'm gonna just, you know, I heard you say earlier, well, sometimes I just go out there and just just put something. No, don't do that. Be intentional. Everything that you do, make sure that you're doing it for a reason. Like if you're going to do it and you know that you could get potentially some views out of this, then how are you going to take that and make it work to your benefit? You know, so be intentional. That is a key to everything that you're doing now. Be intentional. Everything that you do, make sure that you have that next thing that's going to fall behind it. So it just doesn't happen, and then you scrambling trying to figure out what to do now. Be intentional.
Well, I intentionally showed my moringa one day and that short took off, and I was like, it was an iguana on my tree. I'm like, even if they want to see that, I'm not hopping around and going and catching iguanas.
But you know what? You're down there where you have iguanas, so maybe even incorporating that somehow into whatever it is that you're doing. You know what I mean? We have to, like I said, you have to be intentional, and that's why
the breadcrumb.
My videos are staged, because everything in it, I have an idea of what's next. So if you got, let's say, if I'm showing the garden house, and you're seeing the trellis behind it, which I got a comment in the live, I think it was the last short that I did. Somebody say, "Well, how are you going to show the garden bed, but you don't show that thing behind you?" You know, they wanted to see what that trellis, what the trellis was. So, but what that is you don't get to see the trellis until the cucumbers are on the trellis. So the next time I do a garden tour, you're not seeing the same thing. The trellis is there for a reason. That's the teaser. That is your next episode.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's to be continued.
Right.
So it's like it keeps you coming back, because there's something in there that you saw that you really didn't see, and you're coming back to see it the next time. So no, you don't get a chance to see the trellis this time, because I want you to see the trellis when it's actually in use. So you can really get the, you really get the gist of what it does, how it does. And then the next question will be, do you have a video on how to build it? It's like Shawnee was just saying, breadcrumbs. You're just laying breadcrumbs. What's up, David Porter with the crops? Just talking about you a little while ago.
Yep.
I think he was in the bushes and just decided to come out.
He does
Heard
that
his name.
sometimes.
Yeah. No, that's very good. It's really, really great, Keith. I really appreciate all that you're saying, and I'm making little notes, because it's like I want to go back and rewatch that, because it's like just the little nuggets you're saying. It's like I could have like 15 quotes. This is a grown out the box quote. Here's another quote of his. It's like and they're meaty, that you want to have in your head to go, remember this.
And the life principles.
Piece of paper.
Yeah, I mean, they're life principles. You know what I mean? And that's why I say I'm not a gardener. I see myself more as a grower, because I try to connect with people in the way that they receive it. You know what I mean? Not the way that I want to deliver it, but the way that they receive it. Right. So you have to find that thing that works for you. Like I can speak to you, Maureen, because entertainment. So I can connect to you in a different way that I may be able to connect with Carol or Shawnee. It's just you find that thing that's personal with them, and you become a part of that, and it's embraced. So it carries a little more weight, and it becomes personal, and people can watch you and feel like they're a part of what you're doing, and not just like, oh, I'm just watching the tube, and you don't have access. Right. You know what I mean? You're giving access, because that's what it is. Because and it's still getting used to. My wife and I, we were at, I think it was Pike's, and the guy working there walks over and he was like, I just watched your video today. Like, great. Yeah, exactly. You know what I mean? So great. We're walking in our celebrity, you know what I mean? And we have to embrace that and understand the value that comes along with it. And this is not the first time. It's not the second time. So you think about, I have collectively between all social media platforms, over 800,000 people who are subscribed, but how many people watch the videos? That is
exactly.
You know, that we
I
don't
want to,
know how many, you know what I mean? I got one video that's over
yeah.
23 million views. So how many people watched that video,
Wow.
how many times, and how did that bring them over to one of the 4 platforms that locked into it? And now it's like we're at Applebee's one day, a family in there, and they looking across the table, and would you happen to have a YouTube channel? So me being around that my entire life, I understand how that works, but it's different because now I'm the celebrity. I mean, it's, you know, we don't want to see ourselves in that light, but we are the celebrities of today. This is the entertainment that we have to embrace and understand the power that we have moving forward and the value in what it is that we do. You know, Maureen, you have all. Go ahead.
I was gonna say we have Florida in common, and that was a peek into who you are too. When you allowed people to see you walking the streets of Tampa, and same thing, like people were recognizing you and celebrating with you. It was great.
We had these this one guy coming in, he was just watching, and he, you know, even with the guy Danny, it's like I remember his name. You know what I mean? The guy playing the guitar.
Precious,
that's like
that's a
moment. Me, that's like it's almost like understanding the story. You know, just you see someone like that, and you have to look at, like, the guy was good, but where did he go wrong? You know, because and it's like, you know, and then I'm recording, and then I'm like, you mind me putting you on camera? And he was like, no, go ahead. You know, and then he just went, he just really went in, you know what I mean? But that's the type of thing that I do. I find that thing in everybody that you can connect to and you can carry it with you. You know what I mean? So even if you don't know who Danny is, and it's crazy because names but it's like Danny. I remember, I can see him and I can hear him, and I still sing that song in my head, you know, and I don't know if that was an original cut, but I just heard it that one time. But it was his presence, and he wasn't afraid to be his person. Just standing out there for little dollars, you know, whatever you could put in the bucket, but he wasn't afraid to be his person for whatever flaws he had, whatever mistakes that you can see written all over his face. You know, he wasn't afraid to be his person. And that's encouraging to me, you know what I mean? Because here we are living our best lives, so to speak, and this person, you don't even know if he was homeless. Could have been a homeless guy, but he wasn't afraid of the moment. You know, he was doing whatever he had to do to make the next day happen. You know, so it's just finding the beauty in all of that. You know, and being able to take that and translate it into a connection, like having people message me tonight. As a matter of fact, I don't know if it was a female or male, but they were like, my daughter and I watch your videos together, and now my daughter won't let me watch without her, you know, and it just went into, I learned so much by watching your videos, and you're a great teacher, and I was the worst student. I mean, when I say the worst student, I was the worst student in the worst kind of way student. I was the worst student. And to hear people that I went to school with now say, man, if I had a teacher like you, I probably would have passed all my classes.
Right.
So
I think I've even said that to you. I would have liked science better if you were teaching me when I was in school. I was great at making all the, like, if the teacher needed a model for something, like the cell, I could make her a little clay model and label it all for her and stuff. But sitting there and listening to all the vocabulary at that time in my life where it was just coming at you, and it was like, that's not my usual vocabulary. I still need the vocabulary, and you're going beyond me. So yeah, you break it down enough to where you just give a little vocabulary and you explain it, and people walk away with, I know what that means now. Oh, I get that. Oh,
That's
wow.
right. Simplicity with a twist of textbook. That's all it is. That's my. There's a such thing as that cliche or your. It's just I've always just it's part of marketing also and just understanding how to sell certain things. Another kid, the 7-year-old kid that my son is attached to, watches my channel. And we went over and we set up the raised beds for him. And I wish I could have did the whole thing because it was just, it was heartwarming. I mean, it was just one of those tear-jerking moments, you know what I mean? Where this little guy is 7 years old. He wants to be a gardener or the horticulture. He knows all the big words, some of the words that I don't even know yet. You know what I mean? But he watches my channel and going over and setting up the little raised beds for him, and he's got his own little section of the backyard now, and I gifted him some garden beds. That's really what it's all about, And again, that's claiming that celebrity that I'm talking about. You have to claim it, and understand what it is that you want to do with it,
Yeah,
it's all a blessing. You know what I mean, it really is a blessing.
Absolutely. Just brilliant.
Mission statement. Yep.
Yeah, your mission statement. Absolutely.
That's your mission statement. Yep.
And my mission statement actually on the growing out the box is harvest your imagination. That is
I love that.
My whole thing is like grow that thing that doesn't exist, create something, and those are the two keys: create something that doesn't exist or make something better that exists. Those are the two keys to success, in terms of business, if you can invent something or make something that doesn't, that has a need, but doesn't, you're going to be a billionaire. Or find something that exists and make it better. Those are two keys to, those two things there. And that's what I do when I'm thinking of videos. It's like, okay, Shawnee may have done it, but what it was, she missed. She didn't do this.
Shawnee does that already. Yeah, I watch her do that. And she picks up on all the details.
Yeah. So that's what I do. I look for what's missing. Now, I don't want to, if I'm watching a video that Maureen's doing, she may have all the pieces in there, but it's like, oh, if she would have did this, that's my video.
Right.
So I'm getting inspiration off of Maureen, but I'm gonna go for that thing that's missing.
Right.
And that's all it is. It's like, okay, everybody knows your video tonight was about slugs. Okay. Everybody says beer traps, okay, well, why beer? Yeast and sugar. Okay, well, everybody knows about beer traps, but not everybody knows that how do you make beer? Yeast and sugar. Everybody's got that in the kitchen cabinet. So I made my video about beer trap without the beer, yeast and sugar. I think that video had over 800,000 views.
And that's super helpful because I hear a lot of times people are like, I don't want to go into a liquor store. I don't want to have beer smells in my garden or around me for whatever reason in their history. So it's very obtainable for people, the yeast and sugar.
Because I don't drink, so I don't have alcohol around. So people say, well, just pop a beer. Well, I don't go in liquor stores because I don't drink. So for me, I can go to the cabinet or the refrigerator and get some yeast and sugar, mix it up, and there it is. So it's just finding that what's missing. And that, again, like I say, I study you ladies for the things that are missing.
Oh my!
It's like I don't want to do Maureen, I don't want to do Carol, I don't want to do Shawnee. but I'm looking for like, what is it that she does? Because I like what she's doing, but what's missing? That little piece that's missing. I want that.
Mike brought it up before, because there is something to the personality of celebrity, like you were saying, like you believe it before you kind of achieve it.
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
there's certain kind of personalities I think we're drawn into more, sometimes in a bad way. Like they say how a lot of people will flock to narcissists, but what they're flocking to is that confidence. The narcissist carries complete, blind, powerful confidence, and people are just like, well, you must know it then because you're so confident. So it's like, I look at that and I'm like, okay, well, I don't want to be a narcissist. I am quirky. And I don't know, and I don't want to be fake. So when you're like celebrity, I associate it with drama. That's what I was trying to say before, where I
you have
struggle
also
with
the power of persuasion.
being authentic.
You have the power of persuasion, and persuasion could be that in the most profound way, and being able to again connect. So you look at your powers can be used for good or bad, because I think I have a gift for finding the best in individuals, even those that you may not want to deal with, because I've dealt with. I mean, if you've ever been around celebrities, So I've learned how to turn my switch off and okay, that's just noise. I can live with that. So I got thick skin because I understand that this is who. So you learn to, but in that. It's what I'm saying again. I want that part of you that I do, you know what I mean? That part that I do like. It's a whole lot of you I don't like, but I like that part. That part that when you walk in the door, people stop and pay attention. I like that part, but I don't like the way you treat people. So how can I marry those two things together? How can I be respected and gain respect and still walk through the door and be respected? So you kind of take a little bit from everything around you and you become that.
So it's not necessarily faking, because you're just pulling your best character traits forward while you're releasing the ones that aren't necessarily working for you.
Leave them behind. And that's again, that's a part of growing. Every day you're practicing to be better version of yourself, as opposed to trying to be that person. You're trying to just be a better version of yourself. And I think we all can work on change. So if you're practicing the good parts of you more often, you become that. And that's that same formula that I would tell the artists is like, okay, if you want to be that person on that stage, you have to walk in that light, because that's how people are going to see it. And what happens is you start believing it. That can work both ways, just as you were saying, Carol, because sometimes that turns into an arrogance, more so than not. When you walk in the door and people are, oh wow, there's Carol. She's big internet star, and and you can take that and become the snob with it, or you can embrace it and understand that there's a certain way that you can care. How would you want people to treat you if you were the person looking in at the celebrity? Okay, I could take a little time out of my dinner and, just pose for the camera. Yeah, it's burdensome sometimes, but no, it's not. If the character is there, you know what I mean? Because that's the good side of you, that's sharing yourself with those people who support you. Right. And again, that's why I did that live. The live was for the people who support me. The live wasn't for me to gain anything other than, hey, growing out the box. He's a man of his word. Because I remember back when he first started growing, he said he wanted to share a lot of the success that came along with the channel with the people that helped him get that success.
Yeah.
That's what that was. That's my way of saying thank you. You know what I mean? If I can make X amount of dollars over the course of the month because of you guys going to my store buying stuff, that's a really small thing for me to share that back to the people who initially supports me. You know, if you can answer a question about, like the person answered my first viral video, and my sister was like, well, that's an easy one. Not if you don't watch the channel. So for me, that was like, if somebody knows what my first viral video was, yeah, I support you because you've been rocking with me for a while, you know. So that's just how I do. You know what I mean? Everybody do it a little different, but if I had to write the manual on how to plug in, and I think each one of you ladies, I say that again, you have your unique way of grabbing a hold of individuals. You know, it's something special about each of you that not everybody has. You know, so you have to learn how to become, again, that better version of yourself. Leave the other stuff behind. Absolutely. It's not faking. It's just, as you do that, the more you do it, you become it. You know, and you start walking the walk. You know what I mean? And as you might say, you know them by their works.
Yes, that's why. Yeah, I just didn't ever want to have YouTube persona, and then somebody meets me in person. They're like, "You're not at all like YouTube persona."
Well, we're not saying
I want there to be
become your best self. Become your best self. I don't think there's anything wrong with wanting to be your best self. Now, if you're this just terrible person and you're on here pretending to be, then you know, I don't know about that, but I don't know if you could sell it. You know what I mean? Because some people can sell that. You know, you meet them in person.
They can.
Wow, that's, you know, but so authenticity, people can.
That's right.
You can feel that. You know what I mean? Even through this internet, you can feel that. And when people message me, I mean, I've had a lady message me once and she left like a book. I mean, just everything that was going on in her life. And I read it, you know, and it was like, it was, you know, I can't do the things that you do. Your garden is so well put together, and it's just, you know, the average person can't afford to do. So what that did was that let me know, okay, you have to show them some of the things that you do in terms of how you take these basically trash and turn it into something. Now it's time for you to show that part of it. That's the roll-up door cover that's now a strawberry bed planter. That was free. That's the dryer drums that
I was just thinking of that one. Yep. Off to the junkyard.
You know, you're looking at in the garden, all in its, you know, presentation. Those were free. I went out to the scrapyard and got those. I got the video for that. So I record all of those things. So the episode hasn't been shown yet because I needed to get them interested in the journey in order to show them the path that I took to get to this. Now that people are watching, and I say, in order for people to listen to you, you have to have a platform to stand on.
Right.
So now that, and literally, that's been I've said this my entire life, and literally, I am on a platform. I mean, it's just, it's almost like written. You know what I mean? This was already written before I got here, and it took 2020 to make it all make sense.
Right.
When I got sick, and I had to step away from that life and really find something to help me get to, because I was always the one that had the answers. Okay, you just do this, let's take care of this, and let's go over here, and we're gonna make this happen. And so then when I got sick, and it's like I realized that not a lot of people around me were strong enough to make decisions, and I'm talking personally in my family. And you think, okay, you got the insurance policies, all of this stuff set up, you know, then But the main equation, the main thing in there was me. Without me, this thing's gonna fall apart because nobody's been trained to be the CEO. Nobody's been trained to make decisions because I was doing it all the time. And it took the garden for me to focus on the garden to make my son grow up, because I wasn't running to his rescue every time something went wrong with his car. You know, it's like, okay, I'll get to you in a minute. I'm in the garden now. So I didn't know it at the time, but it was being written. You know, you have to pull away, stop rescuing everybody, and make them stand on their own and become their own person. Because as long as you keep rescuing everybody, they're never going to learn how to be their own. And so I'm in the garden working. My son has something going on with his car, and he keeps coming back. Hey, Dad, you going to come and help me? And I'm like, I'll get you help. You know how we do when we're in the garden. So a couple of hours go by. So finally break away when I get my time. And when I get around the corner, he's got the whole front end of his car dropped in the driveway. And you know what he says to me? I got it. I don't need your help. So he was pissed off. You know what I mean? But that was the first time that I ever seen him own his own thing, not depending on me. And then he asked me when he finally got everything going, you know, toward out. He did a whole front end replacement on his car. So even though he's watched me do those things and I never thought he was paying attention, he had to be. He didn't have to use the tools. That's why he never asked for the tools, because I would always do it for him. So it was like the garden really just, it pushed me into a place to where I had to be a little selfish with my own time. And in being selfish, it let everybody on their own. And then they had to figure out some things that they had to do. And then for his 21st birthday, he decided he wanted to go to Iceland by himself. So all of this happened 2021, you know, right after everything kind of opened back up. And it was almost like I look back at that and I say I had to get sick in order for everybody else to grow up. You know, I had to I had to go through that. And asking for my purpose, it kind of falls in line with that. You know, so it this is what it is, you know what I mean? And it's still being written. I don't know where this thing is going, but I embrace it. I follow even when I don't know where it is I'm going, you know, because I'm listening. You know, so
yes, indeed.
We were just talking about that too today when I met Black's Tropical, and somebody was there talking to them about things he had been through in his life, but also good things, and that's like a verse that always comes up over and over again is he created good works for us to walk through them. We're his masterpiece already, and he created these good works. It's just up to us to find that path, and sometimes it's not. Sometimes we're just put on that path, like you said. You just got put in that sickness, and the other things, and you walked through it in a certain way where the other things fell into place. My daughter did the same thing when I was caretaking with my mom. She grew up a lot. She's like, Mom, I'm not going to quit school. Even if grandma passes away, I'm not going to take a day off. I want to finish this. And I was so proud of her because she's always been, the one that I was so worried about. It was so tenderhearted, and she did so well. She even gave my mom a facial in her last week of life. And that's what she was going for, was esthetician. So yeah, I absolutely feel that. I agree with you.
Esthetician.
Oh yeah, esthetician. Jobs aren't here in Florida. If she comes here, just let her know if she ever comes to Florida down this way. But she'll have the experience. It's 2 years or more experience just to get in the door now. For these kids.
Atlanta is a glamour city, so
nice.
That's what she does.
Nice.
But yeah, it's all of this ties in. You know, like you said, it's all put in a path, and even being able to share this with, you know, with you all, because I wouldn't have came up for anybody else, Maureen. Just know that.
Yeah. Thank you.
But I see you ladies.
Yes.
I see you ladies.
Yes.
And it's a reason why I still come around, and it's something there.
Yeah.
It's something there.
Yeah.
Well, we know you have a beautiful wife, so it's not just because we're cute. So we know that it's more than.
Well, you know, I do.
His wife is gorgeous.
I love beautiful things. And beautiful people. So
yeah, we talked about it last night and tonight on Carol's live last night and tonight. Just that, you know, we're very unique in whatever our niches are, but there is this really great cohesive connectedness in our friendship, like our friendship here, and then our friendship even, you know, behind the scenes, offline, just in our conversations with one another. There is a real deep support system and honest encouragement. Like there's not a competition. It's not like, you know, well, I wish I could do this, like, you know, like Kara, I wish I could do this, like Shawnee, you know. There's none of that.
And I get that. I feel that in just watching how you all connect with each other. And that's why when I was emailing you, Maureen, I would always include Carol in, and
I appreciate that.
It was just, I mean, I didn't feel the need to have to go to one or the other. I was like, oh, Maureen's going to tell her anyway. So
absolutely. Usually I'd say, hey, Carol, we got another email, so you need to go and look at the email so we can discuss.
Yeah. So,
and Marie's gonna tell her anyway.
So, but I just get that vibe off of even all three of you, you know, because like I said, all of you have your own little styles, but it's like, I like the way Shawnee does. She'll go to the internet and flip up something and read it off. Like, I mean, that to me is something that I can't do. I don't try to do it. You know what I mean? So I admire people that do things that I don't do.
Exactly.
But I find the little tools that, you know what I mean, that helps me. I'll study you enough to where I'll figure out how to make, like when you did your live, Maureen, and you were reading from, you even said like, you know, you're reading from a script.
Right.
It sounded really good. It was very well organized. I like that. If I were to do lives, that's how I would want to do my lives, you know, structure to where you have, because I got 3 screens right here. And, you know, it's information. That's why you see me looking over in different directions, and my camera is here.
Yes,
there's my 2 screen, girls. I'm on a budget.
See what I'm saying? So I understand what it is that you all are doing, and being new to the whole live thing. I got this screen over here where I can screen share if I need to pull up, or I can read information over here. So I've watched you enough to be able to say, okay, I know what it is she's doing. So let me try my little version of this, you know. So I'm plucking a little bit of each one of you and using it, you know, in my arsenal of growth that I'm trying to accomplish. And I don't mind telling people where I get it from. Like even with David Corey, you know, I see so many people do certain things, and I know where they got it from. I mean, is it that difficult to just say, hey, you know, I was doing this and I saw David Corey doing it, and this is where I got. You know what I mean? It's just that simple. It's for me, it's just second nature because you know, he's still trying to grow his channel. I watched him do something and I was like, wow, okay, he's growing beans in the wintertime. What kind of bean? And I asked him, what kind of bean is that? Oh, I don't know what the fava bean is, but I'm about to grow some fava beans. And of course, I started looking up, you know, the different, you know, health benefits. And legumes, then the bacteria that I could use to get it to pull the nitrogen from the air, and it's just all of those things that go into, okay, it's not just the beans that I'm interested in, it's how to make that work in the scheme of what I'm trying to do with the garden.
Right.
So, and that's
we
why
learned last night just exactly how to peel them, because of what was going on with you guys yesterday, and Shawnee seeing that and then talking to us, and then Carol goes, I've got the beans. So we actually started to break it apart about how do you actually process the beans. So Carol sat there during the live, and and she's hand peeling them to show these are the things that we have to do, which was so cool, because you go, we just got a master class on what is the fava bean good for, how to process it, and actually like how to utilize it in that healing aspect, but also how to process it. Because we would have all went, okay, I've grown the fava beans, what do I do now? Well, we watch Carol, and then it's like, here, see, I've peeled it, here's what it looks like. And so we got like a hands-on great masterclass last night.
Oh, thank you. That's over on my channel, South Florida Sunshine, for those of you watching replay.
That's what he's going with the ting. Ting, with the little light shine on the tube.
But yeah, that was really good. And also I found out that even though it's not common, but Dave the Good has grown them, and they're also supposedly good for men's testosterone, is the velvet bean. And it's even higher, but it's just not a commonly grown bean that has that L-dopa in it.
And so, again, that's looking for that thing that I didn't give you.
Oops.
So you
did
my
short.
Yeah, but there it is. There it is. That's why I share it, because it's not mine. I got it from somewhere. You know what I mean? It's not like I went and invented a fava bean. So this stuff was there. And then I went and looked up the information. So I got the information from somebody who put it out there. So that's what the whole thing is about, just sharing and connecting, and you being able to put the dots together that goes to the next person, and that person being able to use for whatever it is that they need it for. And that is that thing that I was telling you earlier, finding what's missing. You don't have to tell the story the same way that I tell the story, because your purpose or your need for it could be totally different. So just tell the story in your own words. It becomes yours.
Yeah, we discussed dopamine too, and how that's actually something with people who are neurodivergent that they go searching for. That's why like autistic children will hand flap. And everything. It's to release that so they can get their dopamine fix, and so then their brain is a little bit more balanced and they can function better.
That's right.
Yeah.
So, and that's what it, you know what I mean? That is what it, that's the connection. That's what connects this whole thing. And that's what I try to share. You know what I mean? You don't find those jewels that often, but like I said, even with my nephew and him, that bell going off, and he's a Morehouse studying. He's what is it? He's one of them big things with the brain, but it clicked for him right away. Like he was processing it before I even realized he was processing it, because he left with it. And he didn't. It's not like he was like, well, tell me more about the fava bean. It's like he left with what the little bit that I fed him, and he called back to say, hey, those. So he went and looked it up for himself, and was like, okay, I got something that can help somebody that is close to me, and I just want to take it to him, let him try it, see if, what he can get out of it. And that to me was. It started off with the blueberries, but look at where it ended at.
Yeah.
Right. Beautiful.
Beautiful. So but that's pretty much how all the, everything that I'm trying to do with the garden, I hope has some type of connection like that. Just somebody somewhere able to see something that maybe I didn't see and bring that to the table. And then I can look at it and be like, oh, I like what Carol did with that. I like what she did with that.
Yeah.
Same way that I like I said, I give Corey the props for introducing it to me. I took it and introduced it to someone else with a different look. Then Carol, you took it, introduced it to your group with a different.
Well, thanks to Shawnee. Thanks to Shawnee watching your live. She brought it over.
But see, that's the connection. That is that connection. It continues to go like that. When you put those good things out there, it connects, and you find people, like you said earlier, of like minds, and they find each other. That's really how the channel is growing. It's people who want to do better, want to know more, but they're not looking for the real science of it. They just want a little bit.
Right.
They don't want the science story, because I get some people on there who there you go, my brother. I get some of the like I watch one YouTuber who's, to me, is like genius when it comes to the science of soil and just the bacterias, and how he can look at a microscope and he can tell you which bacteria he's looking at, and the number of legs on I mean, it's just, I'm awed at watching him. But he only has like 30,000 followers.
Right.
Because he is so deep with it, to where if you're not on that other level, it's like, it's noise.
Yeah, it's like another language, like I said.
Yeah, and people shut down. If you give them too much, they shut down, and it just becomes a blank screen. And so I watch him to, again, what's missing? Simplicity. I watch him and I take what it is I need from that, and I'm breaking it down into the simplest form. So a lot of that stuff I get from him, and just even learning how to use my microscope. It just, for me, it's fascinating to be able to look at this and see in my compost the life that's in it. And that's why I can speak with authority on some of the stuff that I say, because a lot of people are doing compost, a lot of people are doing the compost teas, but I can tell you what my water looked like before I did the compost, and I can show you the difference in, wow, look at the difference in the bacteria and the fungi and all of this stuff after you put it on that scope and you did a before and after. And it's like, you can be in garden for 100 years. There's certain things you're just not going to be able to tell me, and that is, there's not life in this soil.
Right.
It's not even an argument. I'm not even going to debate with you, because I know what it is that I'm seeing in the background that I haven't shown yet. And as the channel continues to grow, these are some questions that are starting to come. And now I can be learned with the microscope, to where I can start pointing at ciliates and different, just because now my audience has grown with me, and I have to be able to graduate and go with the audience, because that's going to be some of the questions that are going to be asked. Well, how do you know how good your compost is? Well, because I actually have a microscope, and I can do a count per square millimeter and tell you how many ciliates and how many bacteria are here, and that's going to multiply, and then that gives you your count and tells you. It's a science to it that I haven't even gotten to the point of knowing, but just the learning of it,
it's so fascinating, taking 1 milliliter of that diluted soil and looking under it and seeing nematodes and all the fungi and everything moving around, and this eating that. 1 milliliter of diluted soil.
Yes.
Think of how big your garden is.
One droplet.
Yes.
Right. One droplet. It would be interesting, Keith, since you have the microscope set up, to explain aerobic and anaerobic when people are making their like poo-poo juice that Maureen calls it. I think it's super juice.
Yeah.
And, you know, everybody has a different name for it. But there's always that argument of, well, that's anaerobic. You don't want to put it in the soil.
Yeah.
Now
I get
that it's
that all
just
the
been
time.
sitting there without a bubbler. It doesn't have bubbler in it. It's anaerobic. That won't do anything. I would love to see that proven wrong. Like where there's a slide. Like, well,
It's
no,
not wrong.
still,
Actually, it's correct. It's correct. But you can also grow with anaerobic bacteria. That's the part that people don't get. It's like you can have anaerobic bacteria and still grow with anaerobic bacteria. What happens is the soil is going to correct itself. So even if you're feeding that to, that's why you can't do, when people ask me like inside plants, you don't want to do it on the inside because nature doesn't have a chance to correct itself. Everything inside in a pot is controlled. Only you have access to it. But in the soil, Mother Nature, this bacteria control everything. Without them, we cease to exist. They clean up. It's just like the cleanup crew. Everything that's bad, the bacteria and the fungi, they go to it and they make it right again. So even if
so the anaerobic is giving them food. Then these ones that are alive, you're still feeding the life.
It's like aerobic bacteria. Yeah. So, but you do run the gamut of introducing that into your food. So you have salmonella, you have E. coli. It's a lot, especially when you start talking about the horse manures, the cow manures.
Right.
If not properly composted, you could be putting yourself into a real bad situation. So, and that's one of the reasons why I only do thermophilic composting. I don't do cold composting because it's just too many things that can go wrong with the cold composting because you basically just allowing all those anything. Because like I said, when you go through the thermophilic bacteria, then it goes to a hygienization phase when that heat gets to a certain thing and it cleans. It's nature's way of cleaning things up. And it is actually a phase that it goes through that's called hygienization. That's what it's called. It cleans it up. It takes most of the, I don't want to say all, but most of the bad bacteria out. If you got an E. coli in the cow manure or the horse manure. And what made me discover that, because we have deer around here. And I was like, oh, I'll get some of the deer poop and put it in. And then I was like, did a little homework and it's like, no, you don't do that. Deer poop has E. coli. So,
wow.
But that's, I mean, it's
most
stool.
Poop does. Most poop is loaded.
There you go. All of it does.
All of it does. But deers also have a wasting disease that they could probably be shedding too. And we, on a level, are also animals. So you got to be careful.
But again, it's that thermophilic process that goes through that phase because you got your like I said, it's called hygienization. That is a phase of composting when it hits that 140, 150 temperature range, and that's where it cleans that compost up. And then it breaks back down. Then the cool bacteria come back in after it heats up because the hot bacteria can't live down in that range. So it's just, to me, as I learn, it's fascinating. You know what I mean? To where you're looking at, I can take grass and leaves, cardboard, mix those together, and within 5-6 hours, that pile's steaming. And you think, well, how is that possible? That's literally a party. It's literally a party going on. It's multiplying, which means there's some sex happening. There's some they're eating, they're drinking, and you're sweating, and that's the heat that's being generated. And so I look at all of those things like that, and that's how I would explain it. If I were talking about the composting process, and those things resonate. They register with people when you break it down to its simplest form. Like, why is my pile hot? That's because the bacteria are multiplying, and and I see people stick their hands in it. I'm like, I don't think you really know what it is that you're doing right there, because you're talking billions of bacteria. That's one of the worst things that you can do, is putting your hands in it when it's going through that whole composting phase. That is, but nobody knows. Nobody's really telling people how dangerous that is.
Wow.
Right. Because you could wash your hands and you could still have that bacteria underneath your fingernails.
You do still have it. Not know you.
Yeah, you do. You do. I didn't want to freak people out, but yeah, that's how people get pinworms, because they got the eggs under. Yeah, it's a whole gross thing. Yeah.
Which is crazy, because part of that whole, we got bacteria in the soil that plays part in our dopamine. You know what I mean? It plays. Yeah, it's just amazing. You know what I mean? So we think we're in the garden just having a good time and playing in the dirt, but it really is a science to that. You know what I mean? And we
talked in-depthly about your brain on gardening. All of us did on a show one night.
Yeah. I mean, it's amazing, and when you introduce it, when you break that down to the simplest form and introduce it to people, and it's like, oh, matter of fact, that video that I released on that, and all I said was just put your hands in the dirt. It releases serotonin. And then at the end of it, I hit them with the bacteria that's in the soil. So, people went to the keyboard and started Googling. And it was like, wow, that's a real thing. He didn't make that up. So it's the aha moments.
Yeah,
that's all it is. It's the aha moments. Well, I knew I felt good in the garden, but I never knew that this was a contributing factor to it.
Yeah. And you're getting a double shot if it's a sunny day, because you a dopamine boost too.
Because where else do we find? I don't know where you can go and I can work in the garden from sun up to sundown and not get tired until I leave the garden.
Right.
Yes.
Right. I wish
you don't tired when you leave.
I start to hurt. That's my problem. I start to hurt.
Yeah. But while you're out there,
I still want to be there, but my body just starts to
and you will take yourself you will push yourself to certain limits.
Right.
Beyond the average thing, because there's something in that soil that's actually feeding that. It plays part in your, not only your physical, but your mental.
Yeah.
Which gives you that extra boost, that extra energy that's needed. So it's powerful, man. And like I said, the more I learn, the more I want to share it. And the more I share it, the more I learn. So, because it's always somebody who will add something else to the equation, and I'll be like, oh, wow, I didn't know that. That's pretty cool. I think I'm going to make a video on that. And when I say I could not do this without you, I really mean I couldn't do it without you, because most of the time it's something that someone says in a comment or in reaction to one of the videos that I do that feeds me to make me go back and look for something else that I missed.
Right.
It's an endless cycle. It's an endless cycle.
Yes.
It seems being planted.
But that's the thing. You need to be paying attention to those things. What are people saying? What are you observing? It's not just, looking really myopic at your channel or at other people's channels. It's like you're actually looking. Like I know that just this, I don't know. It's like we're over an hour of you, giving us this incredible masterclass. I am going to watch videos much differently now. Like it's just like, never thought of it that way. Never saw it that way. Never, and it's like that just right there. It's like I'm going to look at things much, much differently when I'm looking at these videos and stuff like that.
Right.
And even
And
your
just-
own content, you know.
Yeah.
I watch my own content. A lot of people say I
yeah.
put videos up and then I keep. No, I watch my own content because I'm looking for what I could have done. Like maybe I could have said that a little. Okay, well, I'll just do another video and say it different next time. Boom, there's another million views. so the same way that, you know what I mean? Because the same way that you can look at yourself and see what you could have done different. Somebody else looking at that and okay, well, that's a whole different conversation. So somebody else may get something totally different out of this. Let me just move this phrase in the back and turn that around, and then let me go and grab something else and stick it in there, and I got a whole nother video. So.
Can I ask another question in regards to that? Because it's like we're editing, and I'm editing, and I'm going through it, and I'm watching all the edits, and I'm like, yeah, good. Watch it start to finish. You know, a couple of times, add the music, watch it start to finish, whatever. Then when I put it up on YouTube to watch it, it was like, you know what? You could have shrunk that. You could have changed it. You go, why didn't I see it in the editing? Why is it when I get it to YouTube? Do you find that it's different once you do put it up, or do you catch it in the edits?
Well, I have a 27-inch monitor that I edit on. So, yeah. So I'm literally like, this is what I'm chatting on right now. That's why you see me looking. It looks like I'm looking down because my camera is at the top of my monitor. I got a large monitor. Okay. And I have I have a 24-inch on this side and another 24 on this side. So I got like a whole surrounds that so I can move screens to each one of the things, and I have just my main screen here and my tools on my right or my left, so I can focus on what I'm looking at, and I can just bring my tools in as I use them, as opposed to trying to do it on a phone or a little tablet and kind of having the small pieces to move back and forth. It just, for me, I cannot edit on my phone. It's impossible. I would miss so much because I have to have everything like large. Like I even got an 85-inch television that I was going to be using for my lives, so I can actually look and see everything that's going on in the live, the chats and all this. Because now it's like I got the YouTube over here, then I have the Instagram over here, and I'm trying to do all of this. Okay, well, how about I just put it all on one big screen and then have them all set up to where it's like, you know, you got the multiple screens right there in front of you. So I'm always thinking about how to make my job a little easier. And that's why, like I said, I'm not set up the way I would want to be in terms of being able to do the lives, because I'm constantly doing like this and I'm not focused on, like I'm looking at you guys on the screen, but I'm not looking at the camera. So I got to figure that part out, because I probably need a camera that's a little lower, but then it's right in the middle of my screen. So I haven't quite figured that out. So for me, it's like, I know my presentation with the lives are not what I need them to be for me to be totally comfortable with what I'm showing, because I know the eye contact is very important. Like right now, I'm looking into the camera. But
it's hard because I look at you when you're talking, so the camera's right here because I have a 13-inch monitor.
So I would have to have my laptop in front of me. Which means everything is smaller, and now it's like I lose the advantage of I got multiple tools. So it has its advantages and disadvantages because the screen is so big. This is like. This is
just high level. That's awkward.
That's how big the thing is. So it's a 27-inch iMac, and it has this plus
it
sign.
Looks fine to us. You look fine, like it does.
But it's the eye contact.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I feel like But
Go ahead.
I feel like I look for eye contact when I'm watching a replay of something.
Yes.
If I notice that the person talking never looked at me in the replay, the camera, which is what it would be, I feel a little weirdo about it. But when we're live, it's a whole different thing.
Right.
So it's like keeping in mind the replay people and looking at them and talking to them. Yeah.
Right.
And I am conscious of that. You know what I mean? So yeah, I've always thought of that, because when I watch it back, I look at me, not looking at me, and that that don't look right. You know, but I'm looking at you guys on the screen. So, but that's not looking into the camera. So like now I'm looking into the camera, so I'm engaging with you.
Exactly.
But I can't see you.
It's just weird. Like, because you guys are down here now out on my peripheral vision. If I'm looking right at them, hey guys, here, walking in.
That's comfortable for you because you got a smaller.
It's not really, because I'm hunching. Like I need something a little taller too, so I'm not hunching down. But yeah, I agree.
But
we all could do better. Go ahead.
I think I don't know what my screen size on the iMac that I edit on. Like I will edit some of the shorts on my phone just because I filmed it on there. I will, or sometimes I download it. But yeah, I don't know what it is that it's like. How did I miss that little clip? As soon as I see it on YouTube, it's like, oh, you know what? I could have done that different. I could have done that different. Didn't catch it in edits, and it's just little things. Like you go.
So if you know that's your weak point, then you need to be that much more focused on before you upload. And that's one of the reasons why I will not edit on an iPad or a cell phone, because I will miss so much of the details. I like to have my entire 27 inches. That is my editing screen. I have nothing else on that screen. I may have like a toolbar on the bottom where I have my all my little features and stuff. But as far as what I'm looking at, it's like what I'm looking at right now on StreamYard. I only see you guys. There's nothing else on the screen.
Right.
So,
well, you can drop the comments in though. Comments are always there in the StreamYard. You just can't type into them. The comments are always up at the top where you can click on that.
Here on the bottom corner. Yeah. So I'm comfortable with the StreamYard now. It's just getting in sometimes, because like I said, this is my first time coming up with the StreamYard, because last time I did it on Miss Linda, she sent me an invite link. I don't know how easy it was then, but I think because I was toggling back and forth with my other YouTube channel, that somehow the StreamYard didn't read it or whatever. So, but that was a learning experience. Yeah, that was a learning experience. So, and then I have, like I see 1,000 passcodes.
Hate that.
Because I don't understand how people use the same passcode for everything. I have a different passcode for every single device that I own. So I don't have it right in my head. I have to actually go and look up the information, because if somebody get into one, oh, you are messed up.
Right.
And after I finally got in, then Google, of course, doing the check, had to send me the email send the message to my phone to say that is you, and then I finally got it. So, but it's all, I got all the 3-step verifications and all of that stuff, because I mean, I know Black's Tropical was talking about having their account, hacked over on Facebook, and it's like, I could handle Facebook, Instagram I could handle, but if YouTube were to get it, man, I would be a mental case.
Right.
Because the Instagram and the Facebook, even though there are more followers on there, YouTube is kind of like where the money is made. You can really see with Instagram and Facebook, I can use the sponsors to really generate money over there. But with YouTube, I can control everything. I don't need sponsors. I don't need anything. I can everything that goes on here is about the $, and people just going over to the website, just connecting those two. And between what I'm making off the website and the views, that's a whole nother $. And when you get this side of it, the YouTube side of it, you can be more demanding, or I should say commanding, on how you deal with sponsors. Because it's crazy, because the strength of my dollar is in YouTube, but all of the sponsors want Instagram. They want the fast. Yeah, they don't care about YouTube. Yeah, the YouTube sponsor, they really don't have any, because we don't shop on YouTube. We shop on Instagram. We shop on Facebook. We shop on TikTok. But YouTube is primarily, it's a vehicle for doing what we're doing now. It's education, entertainment. They come here for a different reason, and why YouTube has different rules than Instagram or TikTok. Like, you can't just put any music up on YouTube. You can't, kids in your videos. You got to put the prompters up and all of those things, because there's monetary value in everything that you're doing on YouTube. Whereas Instagram, I think my best month may have been 2,000 on Instagram, and that's with a video doing over 15 million.
What?
Yeah, so it's really not. Yeah, Instagram, and that's between both Meta, Instagram and Facebook. It just, I can make that on YouTube. Like, it's easy on YouTube.
Right.
Yeah, it's easy. So I focus more on YouTube because that's sustainable. Instagram and Facebook. Now, the way you make the money on Instagram and Facebook, outside of being paid the royalties, is with your sponsors, because you got that little carrot now, because you got a couple of 100,000 followers on Instagram and Facebook. They want that. So that's the leverage that I use. And it's like marrying like I was telling you earlier, Maureen, marrying your shorts with your long form.
Right.
It's really marrying your shorts or your reels on Instagram and Facebook and TikTok to your long form over here on YouTube. So I use this as the platform, like, let's say, my home office, but anytime I want to stab at one of the sponsors, I dangle the Instagram and the Facebook and the TikTok in their face, because that's that quick thing that they're going to be able to click on and people start buying things. So you're talking about, you can balance it off by saying, no, I don't make the money from Meta, but I can make unlimited amounts of money from the sponsors who want Meta. Because that's what they're going to be purchasing. That's where they're going to be buying. I had on my website over 1 million, just 1 million, I don't want to say views, 1 million people visits. How can I? Over 1 million visits to the website in less than 3 months.
Wow.
So that comes from TikTok and Facebook, and that fast moving thing that doesn't come from YouTube. So it's learning how to leverage all the platforms and make it into a central hub, and that's what Growing Out the Box does, and that's what allows me to be able to come on YouTube and just be comfortable. I could put up a video once every 2 weeks, and a short. I can get maybe 3 shorts out of each video, and really slow pace myself, but still keep the money flowing without having to work extra hard. Like people, but you gotta put up 5 videos a week or 5 videos a day. No, you don't. I put up maybe 1 video every 2 weeks. Out of that 1 video, I milk it. I'm gonna get at least 3 shorts out of that video. So if I do 3 shorts in 2 weeks and 1 full video, that's how the whole thing has been built. And then you take those 3 shorts on Instagram, you set those up every other day or once a week on Instagram. That's a whole nother source of not just the royalties from there, but the advertising dollar.
Right.
Just being able to leverage all of the platforms at one time. And not many people have all the platforms. You're going to have one person maybe big on TikTok, maybe big on Facebook, maybe big on YouTube, or maybe big on Instagram. But I've been blessed to be able to have a presence on all the social media. I even had a presence on Reddit. I just kind of was getting to be too big for me, so I couldn't even keep up with everything. Yeah, because it's simplicity.
Yeah,
that really is what it is. It's just keeping it real simple to where people can get it, but still get it.
Right.
You know what I mean? They walk away with something. You gotta always remember that you want to give them something. Every time you put up a video, you want them to give them something. I got so many videos recorded that after I go back and watch it, and it's like I don't see any value in it. You know, it's like there's me in the garden and I'm doing some, but I didn't hear a jewel in it. You know what I mean? It's like if I don't hear that thing that I think someone could be able to grab it and take it to somewhere else and use it, I just scrap. You know, put it to the side. You know, I'm not going to delete it. I just put it to the side. I won't even release it. So that's why I only release maybe one video every 2 weeks. Not that I'm not recording them. It's just they don't make just in entertainment. That's how it works.
Right.
You know, you record certain things, and some things are funny, some things are not, some things are bit to plateau, something you toss it out and you just keep moving. But meantime, in terms of a record company, they keep all that catalog is, you know, you hear about artists pass away and all of a sudden you got thousands and thousands of songs.
Yes.
Those are all the songs that didn't make the album.
Right.
You know?
Yes.
So it's
people don't realize that. Not in the music industry, how many don't make the cut for that album. And
so
the albums become.
You know what I mean? Because I hear some people say, I just go out to the garden, turn the camera on, and start recording. That's not what I do.
Right.
Not what I do. I'm thinking about everything I do when I go out there. And it's actually something that I thought about, and I want to plan it, and I want to be able to deliver something, as opposed to, I don't want the videos ever to be about me. Never about me.
For your audience.
It's always about what I'm doing. I never want to be. And it's crazy because in running from the camera is how I discovered how to edit. So I'm constantly, not saying they weren't good, just didn't make it. They didn't make the cut.
Right. There you go.
That's right.
Curated.
And I say that to David a lot of times too, because I see David out there. He'll just turn the camera on and then he'll walk off and he'll be on the other side of the garden doing some stuff. And I'm like, brother, you got to take that camera, cut it, move it over to the next spot so we can see what you're doing. You know, that's really why we're watching. You know what I mean? We get so caught up into it's convenient for me to not move the camera, but you think about when people are watching you, they don't want to hear you just talk about what you're doing. They want to see what it is you're doing so they can connect to, oh, that's what they're talking about. You know what I mean? So, you know, you got a whole lot of talking heads. There's some very intelligent people on the internet that can sit down and speak like they wrote the book, but they don't have a lot of followers because people are just, they can't imagine what it looks like. You're giving them so much information, they can't imagine it. So whenever I'm recording, it's like, I'll tell whoever is recording me, just glance up at me, go back down. Glance up at me so they'll know I'm here, but go back down, show what it is. And if whatever I'm talking about, you can't see with that camera, then you need to make sure that you see it. That's always the thing. I want it to be just like if I'm looking at it. And that's the connection that everybody get. Okay, I'm listening to criticism, taking it easy. That's why I was asking you, David, about you were doing it one day, and I had a microphone over here, a lapel mic that I was gonna send you, but I'm on the iPhone, and I think you said you were on Android, so it wouldn't have worked for you. But I think that'll be a big difference in what you're doing on your channel. Even if you didn't move the camera, just having that audio attached to you and them being able to follow at least your audio. But if you're taking the audio and you're not showing what it is, it's going to always, have some type of distortion in there to where it's not going to be a connection. And that connection is, like I say, it's almost like you ever watched and maybe it's just me, but you ever watch something and then you're on the screen, but you try to look around it.
Right.
To see that thing that's in the back.
Kids do that. They will go up to the screen and do.
Yes.
Like we as adults know.
The eyes of the innocence. You know what I mean? So you're trying to see that thing in the back. And that's what I try to do. It's like, I want you to be able to, you don't want to see around me. I want you to be able to see exactly what it is that I'm doing and then lock in on that. And that's where the appreciation comes from, because it'll be like, I knew this, but nobody ever showed me that. You know?
Right.
So, and that's where most of my views come from.
Yeah, I've thrown that out there a couple of times where it's like I'll go, I'll be looking at the camera. Oh, here, just let me show you, right? So I'll actually, as if I'm talking to you, it's like, I'll be doing something. Look here, come and get a closer look. Or for the people in the back, come get a closer look. And if I'm doing 2 cameras or something like that. So, yeah, just that little bit. Yeah. So, are you going to?
And that makes a difference. Yeah, that makes a difference.
Yeah, I have to call it at night. It's 3:30, past 3:30 a.m. and my husband gets up at 4, and I don't even want to go. It's so good. Thank you so much.
We'll do it again sometime, and maybe a little organized. But I appreciate you, ladies. Like I said, you guys inspire me to do those little things that you all do that I can't do. So I appreciate that.
We appreciate you so much, and for all of this.
Send me down, Maureen.
Right.
Yes, we're probably going to say our good nights here. And so again, thank you to my co-hostesses, Carol and Shawnee Grove. Of course,
that's a good one.
Junior, for you coming up and saying your, a little bit of hellos. And of course, a big round of applause from everybody for growing out the box, for coming up here and giving us this, it was like the biggest kind of meaty dinner that you could possibly think of stuff to chew on. And for those of you that come back in here to watch the replay, yes, you made it to the end here. You bookmark this spot, because there's some really great nuggets that for me, I was like mind blown. So thank you all for spending the evening with us and watching the replay. And do check out all of the people that you see on your screen: Growing Out the Box, South Florida Sunshine, Shiny Grows, and of course myself. So thank you for spending time with us. Good night, and God bless you all.
Night.